That's a perfect segue. So I kind of want to impart what we envision for Brick+Work too. So I know I
Okay.
shared we provide our initial launch and niche industry is obviously commercial brokers and land development. I did a bunch of lunch and learns post-launch to some local residential brokerage offices. And I remember all the glazed looks over everyone's faces when I talked about the zoning and the developers that are trying to affect housing and what the solution is for the housing shortage. It's got to be multifaceted. It's not just one solution. It's everybody's got to get involved. The stakeholders, the investors, the community, politics, of course. That's kind of a hindrance, but you could leverage it in a good way as long as everyone's aboard on what's going on. But so based on that, what I've always wanted to do was provide value for residential agents. So I've had a couple of agents that actually got it right away. And I just keep, every month meeting with them going, okay, tell me what's going on in your office, right? Like, so what's driving some of the, transactions in your office, but what's also of concern. And well, come to find out, we were looking big. We were looking at the apartments being built, the mixed use, these massive 300 unit communities. But again, those are few and far between. There's way more single family homes locally here, but I'm sure there is. Exactly, right? So that's how, it's mostly, ag land, I would say, most barren land. And then it gets to rural, then suburban, then even the cities, and there's a few of them. But what I've realized is there's a new kind of law that came through California, and it's called ADU laws.
Right.
Yeah, granny flats, accessory dwelling units. That's been huge. So, but it's been kind of confusing because the local cities and municipalities have kind of put overlays from the state, right? So the state said, yeah, as long as it fits this requirement, your garage, and it has these minimal setbacks, you're okay. You could build up to 800 square feet or 1,200 square feet. But then all of a sudden, these cities said, no, not with this, not with that. So they added layers. And so I think the focus was lost. Recently in California for this year, surprisingly, they opened it up. They overran the cities. And they said, no, state law is right. So you could still build what you want, but it's not being utilized. Of course, the pandemic has kind of put a wrench in all of this thing, but it's still a problem. So what we're doing is we're launching a couple of new things for residential agents, which are a comprehensive ADU report on highest best use for that property. So if it's, you can have 2 ADUs in certain properties or just one. You can have an ADU where it's the unit is on top and you could still have parking below. So there's multiple ways that you can do that, but we're going to provide that report launching here soon. We also partnered with architects to mass it. Now that was another problem. Was a lot of the agents shared with me, look, okay, I go on that listing appointment like you mentioned. I empathize with what they want, but I know that there is a solution in that. Well, I still want to live here, but I want to generate income, or I want to convert this to an investment property. But what is the highest best use? Is it just renovating the main house? No, you have a parking garage that you can convert, but I have no idea how to do that. So they don't even have the contacts that are the local architects that can come in and help with the site plan, massing it and going, okay, I think you could fit one parking like you're required, and you could build up to 1,200 square feet. So, and then that might cost 75,000, 125. We don't know. Like that's all. There's a big range for that. But that's what we're going to be launching here soon, because we are now listening. So we're complementing technology and information and providing it as kind of ammo for the residential agents locally. Then when they come and meet with their clients, they can help them in a way that they themselves didn't know was possible for that property. So what is your feedback on that? Because we'd like to, obviously partner with residential brokerages and provide this at scale at costs that are like $50 a report. And the architects are kind of doing this for free, if that makes sense, or for minimal cost, maybe another 100 or 200 add-on, because what they eventually like to do is be the architect to design and help actually build out that.
Right. Well, and value equals income, right? So if I'm going to provide value for one person, even if I provide it for 10, then that's going to give me the opportunity to do this one that somebody's willing to have me do, and I'm going to be first in, and first in wins. So I think it's a great idea. I think the more agents have in their arsenal of having accurate data and accurate information so that they can deliver something that's unique and give them choices, right? People move because of their circumstances, but sometimes people don't want to move. They want to maybe bring a couple generations into the same house, or they need something that's going to be on one floor and be wheelchair accessible for somebody, or they need to add that additional income, or that additional income would be the difference between this person being able to afford to stay home with their kids and maybe homeschool them, or this person being able to retire, where they couldn't before because they looked at Social Security and said, okay, that's not going to cut it. But if I added this extra amount, I could really make a difference.
Some use cases they shared, or even just the reverse mortgages. That was a product that once released, it became the end all. But it's actually, if you look at it, it's only for select people, I think, and purpose. And a lot of them are just like, look, I'm going to tap into equity, but I don't want to make payments now. Or is there any flexibility in that? And so there's
even listing a property. I agree with you. You know, it could be a mortgage, a reverse mortgage circumstance. It could be even somebody that does want to list their property, but they want to maximize on what the value is. And so this is another thing that is potential. And so when they come and deliver that potential, the person that's coming in to buy says, okay, this will give us more of an opportunity than we ever could have before, or when they don't want to leave that community, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's terrific. Anything that you can do that can provide data that's going to actually add value to the agent that's going out to represent. To me, they need to have accurate market knowledge, and they need to know options. They need to know what the choices are. You know, then they can make a decision, but it's an educated decision based on getting a tremendous amount of information instead of everybody automatically walking through the door and doing the same CMA.
Yeah. And so that's us addressing the residential. Is I pivoted too. I thought, you know, residential agents would seize on this opportunity because, like you said, the barrier of entry for commercial was information. So it's like a lot of commercial real estate is only data or information driven with the spreadsheets and how are you going to earn.
Although I think you've got a great opportunity commercial wise, because, you know, zoning is not only is zoning changing like crazy, we're forcing it. Right? The pandemic of having more than 43% of people be able to telecommute, we're going to have so much mixed use in commercial properties.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to have so many different things. We're going to see shopping malls turned into
Amazon
fulfillment centers. But you know what? We're going to also see them turned into 55 and older projects.
Yeah.
And we're going to see them turned into millennials all having condos around, and then they're going to use a hub in the middle that they're going to be able to connect with technology and almost barter what they're going to be able to do for doing their own business. We're going to see so much change over the next decade because people had time to sit back and think. And the people that are paying attention to what the choices are that are out there are going to be the ones that are going to grow. You know, everybody's panicked. Oh, everybody's going to move out of the city. Well, no, they're not.
No, they're not.
But there are people that are moving out of cities in droves right now. But we'll see something new come back in.
Agreed.
And we'll see something new and different that'll come back in, and it won't look like it did now. But does your world look the same as it did 20 years ago?